Please don't forget that this lesson is recorded. Just this lesson is recorded and it's gonna be left on our channel. I'm talking about the channel of Zoom, so that you are able to access it afterwards, so that you are able to go through those complicated things maybe which you didn't understand for now when you are busy with the discussion. So if you have any question, raise up your hand. I will be able to see that you have a question, and then I'll ask you to unmute, and then you're able to ask the question so that we don't interrupt the class. Remember that to talk about menstrual cycle, you need to know 4 hormones. You need to know the 4 hormones. That is, the first one is FSH, is LH, is estrogen, and then it is progesterone. So these hormones, you need to know exactly where are they coming from. Where are they coming from? These two, we need to know that they are coming from the brain, while these two, they are coming from a part called ovary. So does it mean that if it is coming from the ovary, does it mean that this hormone is only found in female? Probably. I'll leave you with that question, and then you'll tell me the answer maybe afterwards. So the brain is too big. So which part of the brain do we have these 2 hormones? The first part, you can call it hypophysis. Yes, it's the part of the brain. We call it hypophysis is because it's just below this so-called physis. Physis looks like something like a bone-like. So it's just below the bone-like tissue in the brain. Then that part is called hypophysis. If it was above the brain, then we would have called it hyperphysis. Yes, so it's just a description which shows where that exactly where this bone is located. But the actual sense or its actual name is called pituitary gland. Then we have these 2 hormones are being obtained from this part. So that one comes from hypophysis, and also that one is coming from hypophysis. What about estrogen and progesterone? Progesterone is coming from ovary. Also, estrogen is also coming from the ovary. But which part of the ovary do these 2 hormones come from? Estrogen is coming from the Graafian follicle, the Graafian follicle, yes, while estrogen is coming from corpus luteum. Yes, corpus luteum. That doesn't matter how do you pronounce it. So the first point when we are asking you, I think you know it. Number 1, what is which part of the brain produces FSH or LH? So we know that it's coming from hypophysis. Which part of the brain do we find, which part of the brain produces a hormone which triggers ovulation? So now we know that is hypophysis. You see? So now we know you have to know the location of the gland or the structure which produce that specific hormone which is used in the menstrual cycle. So location is very important. Can you please mute? Yes, that's number 1. Number 2, now since you know, so they are starting, I'm gonna only take the first letters and then I'm gonna call it flow. So I will come back here and then I need to know the second point. If I say it is flow, yes, now you need to know the function of each hormone you are going to be dealing with in the menstrual cycle. So now here we need to know the functions of each hormone. We say this is FSH, which is follicle stimulating hormone. The answer is already there. You cannot tell me that in exam that you forgot the function of FSH. Yet they said FSH, which means follicle stimulating hormone. The hormone which stimulates the development of the Graafian follicle. What does the Graafian follicle do? Once the Graafian follicle has developed, then it produces what you call the ovum. This is what I'm talking about. Which hormone leads to the development of this? This. You see? Yes. So that's what I'm talking about, that it is follicle stimulating hormone, a hormone which stimulates the development of the Graafian follicle. We go to the next point. We go to the next point, which is, it means that you have to say that word, stimulates the development of this mute of the Graafian follicle. Yes, it stimulates the development of the Graafian follicle. You have to know that. Because if you don't know the function of that, then it means that you will not be able to know what does it do. Yes. Now, you have the second hormone, which we call the luteinizing hormone. Luteinizing hormone is LH. Luteinizing hormone. In exam, this has been a very big problem to students. They fail to write the correct spelling of LH. Yes, it is allowed to say LH, but it is not allowed to say LH during when you're talking about the terminologies or the biological terms. You can say LH in other components, maybe in the other substructures or semi-structured equations, but you cannot say LH in the terminologies. You can say FSH in other sub questions, but you cannot say FSH in the terminologies. We'll cross it because you are not giving us the name. We want the full, we want to know that you know this. So it's follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, not LH, not FSH. But if you're talking about the other parts of the questions, then you are free to write LH or FSH. And if you are writing it, make sure that you write this in capital letters. FSH. Don't write LH like that. Don't write FSH like that. Ne? So make sure that you write it in capital letters. All right, we continue. So what is the function? So we are on part 2. The first part is to know where exactly these hormones are located. Where do they come from? The second part is to know the function of each hormone. We said that. Just a moment. Good. Yes, we say that LH triggers ovulation. Triggers ovulation. What is ovulation? Ovulation is the release of a mature, yes, a mature ovum, yes, from the Graafian follicle. So it must be mature. That's what you call the ovulation. So we go to the next one, which is LH doesn't only have one function. It has 2 functions. The second function is to stimulate. Do you hear the word? To stimulate, not to convert. LH doesn't convert. It stimulates the conversion of empty Graphian follicle to corpus luteum. Yes, it simulates the conversion of empty Graphian follicle to corpus luteum. That's the meaning. So, if it stimulates the conversion of empty Graphian follicle to corpus luteum, when do these two happen? We shall see that this triggers ovulation, and the moment ovulation has taken place, the sac which remains where the ovum was, the sac where the ovum came from, is what you call now the empty Graphian follicle. So the moment it is, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. Now the ovum has been released from here. Now it is a sac. It has no ovum. The ovum was there before, but now it is a sac which contains the empty, which contains no ovum. Therefore, it becomes empty. Before, we were calling it Graphian follicle, but because the ovum has been released, therefore we call it the empty Graphian follicle. So what does it do? It stimulates the conversion of this empty Graphian follicle. We're talking about LH. It stimulates the conversion of this empty Graphian follicle. It makes it a little bit solid. And then it turns into a yellowish structure, which you call the corpus luteum. We call it the corpus luteum. So that corpus luteum, I gave the examples to some of the learners I teach. I'm not talking about these ones who are online now. Yes, that this corpus luteum is an example. Is if you look at mucus, when you have flu and it's about to go, you have taken some medication, it's no longer watery the way it was before. It's now thick. When you do hey, yes, it comes out that yellowish something. Yes, that's how corpus luteum looks like. It changes maybe from this, even you see that the colors are a little bit different. So that now it becomes corpus luteum. Which hormone does that? That is LH. Now remember the question. Where does it come from? It comes from the part of the brain which we call hypophysis. Now we are linking. We continue. What about the next hormone, which is LH? Is estrogen. Estrogen, the function of estrogen is to prepare the uterus for implantation. In this case, we don't talk about secondary sexual characteristics because we are on menstruation. We are not on what is the function of estrogen. We are on the function of estrogen specifically for menstrual cycle. So, estrogen prepares the uterus for implantation. Yes, some people confuse what is the uterus. Yes, let me just show you here, then I will rub it off. If I draw here my simple structure of the ovary, yes, a simple structure of the ovary, and then here you have the cervix, ne? And then yes, you have now the layer here, which I'm gonna call this. This is a uterus. This is also uterus. This is also uterus. All we are not allowed to cross the lines, ne? Yes. Yes, all those are uterus. This one is the space where the baby grows from. So it is the uterine cavity, that color. Yes, is the uterine cavity. Then we have this one, which we have said that this one, which we call the endometrium. Endometrium is also part of the uterus. Yes, the outer lining of the uterus is what called the endometrium. And that's where implantation is taking place. And then we have this wall, this wall, which we call the uterine wall. So when they have labeled, you must know exactly what they have talked about. Okay, so we say that estrogen prepares the uterus, meaning that it prepares that what we have seen. But how does it prepare the uterus for implantation? It prepares the uterus for implantation by making it thick, vesicular, and glandular. Thick means that it's a little bit bigger. Vesicular, it means that it has more blood vessels. Glandular, it means that it is being produced, it is providing more what? More glands so that it is able to secrete other substances. Yes. So that is the function of the uterus. Oh, sorry. Yes, that color. All right, we said it prepares the uterus for implantation by making it thick, vesicular, and glandular. Yes. Then what about progesterone? Now the last hormone. Progesterone, where does it come from? We say that it is coming from the corpus luteum. Progesterone maintains, yes, it maintains pregnancy if the person is pregnant. In actual sense, it maintains the endometrium. Yes, it maintains the endometrium. I remember sometime they brought a question. Sometimes the question they bring, you have to apply. Yes. If the person is pregnant, we can conclude that, yes, it maintains pregnancy 100%. We have no issue with that. Yes. But if the person is not pregnant, wait, if the person is pregnant, pregnancy, when do we count pregnancy? We start counting pregnancy when implantation has taken place, not when fertilization has taken place. Don't confuse those two. Pregnancy is calculated, yes, when when implantation has taken place. You understand? That's why when you go to the clinic, they'll ask you, when did you have your last menstruation? You understand? So that they can add that period. Yes, they can add that period. Yeah? But you can't know it unless implantation has taken place. Once implantation has taken place, then we shall say that progesterone maintains that pregnancy. You understand? But when you say that progesterone maintains the endometrium, it gives a wide field whereby it maintains the endometrium. Yes. How does it maintain the endometrium? By making it thick, vesicular, and glandular. When you say it like that, something is still missing. So you have to add the word more. So it makes it more thicker, more vesicular, and more glandular. Why don't we say by making it thick, vesicular, and glandular? Because the uterus made it thick, made it vesicular, and made it glandular. So the function of progesterone is to maintain this endometrium in its state, but does not stop there. It adds some. So that's why we say that more thicker, more vesicular, and more glandular. So it maintains the pregnancy. Yes, this is accepted, but it's more when we see that the person is pregnant. I'll show you some of the questions which I'm trying to mean here. If you say that it maintains the endometrium, yes, is also, that one is much more. Why? Because it gives a wide range of what? Of answer. But when you're maintaining the endometrium, if the person is pregnant, automatically, yes, that's why we say that it maintains pregnancy. But don't forget that this only stops at a specific period when corpus luteum is producing this progesterone. We shall see that. Let's do a recall. We said that We need 4 hormones. The first one is FSH. Where does it come from? From the brain. Which part of the brain? Hypophysis. We said the second hormone we need to know is luteinizing hormone. Where does it come from? It comes from hypophysis. What is its function? We're gonna see it. Then the next hormone is estrogen. Where does it come from? From the ovary. Where exactly in the ovary? The Graafian follicle. The next hormone is progesterone. Where does it come from? It comes from the ovary. Where exactly in the ovary? In the corpus luteum. We say that one, which looks like a what? A mucus. All right. We said that the second step, once you master that, at least guys, sing this, sing this, sing this, sing this. The moment you master that, you go to the next part, which we call the functions. You need to know the functions. You want it or not, you have to know the functions. What is the function? That is the first one, is FSH. What is the function of FSH? The answer is already there. I told you. FSH, a hormone which stimulates the development of the Graafian follicle to produce the ovum. Remember, the Graafian follicle, its function basically is to produce the ovum. And the next step is, the next hormone is luteinizing hormone. We say that is coming from hypophysis. What's the function of luteinizing hormone? We say that this hormone stimulates the conversion of the empty Graafian follicle to corpus luteum. Number 2 also triggers ovulation. Yes, it triggers ovulation. So we know those also 2 functions. Then we got the next question, the next function, that is estrogen. We say that estrogen prepares the uterus for implantation. But we say, how does it prepare the uterus for implantation? We see that it prepares the uterus for implantation by making the uterus thick, vesicular, and glandular. By making, let's repeat together. It prepares the uterus for implantation by making it thick, vesicular, and glandular. By making it thick, vesicular, and glandular. When you're doing this, you must do it. You must put the energy. You must put the energy. Yes. Then we got the next one is progesterone. We say that progesterone it maintains pregnancy. If the person is pregnant, how does it maintain that pregnancy? By making the endometrium more thicker, more vesicular, and more glandular. An example. Okay, we shall come to that. Now, once I know that, once I know the function of each hormone, and I know where do they come from, because the questions we're going to ask you, they must contain that. Once I know that, I continue to the next part. Where do these hormones work? Do they work in the menstrual cycle or they work in the ovarian cycle? Yes, someone saying that I'm speaking very fast. Yes, I'm speaking very fast. I was speaking very fast because I was doing a recap. I was doing the what? The recap. Yes. Now, let's go to the next part. The next part is, I need to know where do we find them. We say that we're going to go with the first letters. Flop. Are you seeing? Flop. Whereby we say that follicle-stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, estrogen, and progesterone. We say that these 2, they come from the brain. They come from the brain. Which part of the brain? Hypophysis. Yes. So we are done with that. Okay. Then we say that these 2, yes, they come from the ovary. Yes. But which part of the ovary do we find this? Which part of the ovary? We say that this one is the Graafian follicle. I'm going to call it FG, just, but don't write it like that in exam. Then we have this one, which is corpus luteum. Comes from the corpus luteum. That one I said, which looks like mucus. Yes. Huh. Once I know that, now I need to know where does FSH and LH work? They work. So this is the hormone. This is where they are coming from. And then this is where they work. Yes. Where do they work? They work in the ovarian cycle. Ovarian cycle. They work in the ovarian cycle. And then what about this one? What about these ones? They work in the, this one they work in the uterine cycle. So these two, which work in the ovarian cycle, these two, which work from the ovarian cycle. Remember, they are being produced from the brain, but they work in the ovarian cycle, meaning that where they are being produced from is not where they are working from. Then this one, which are being produced from the ovary cake. Where do they work? They work in the uterine cycle. Let me write it properly. Uterine cycle. So if they work in the uterine cycle, yes, it means that they are not produced there. So guys, when you are confused, you must remember, where is it being produced from? Uterus. We don't have a hormone produced from the uterus. Where is it being produced from? From the ovary. Oh, okay. If they are working, what's the function? So the function must be related to the uterus. It cannot be related to the ovarian. It must not be related to the ovary. You must now shift away from the ovary and then you go to another part. These hormones are being produced. They work in the, where do we produce LH from? If you don't know, ask yourself, what is the function of LH? Triggers ovulation. Oh, ovulation is in the ovary. Do you think LH can be produced from the ovary? No, because we say that where they are being produced from is not where they are working. So you need to know that. So they work from a different angle. I hope I'm clear there. We go to the next one. Which is, we don't know where they are located. Now, we go to the next one. What happens to the ovarian cycle and what happens to the uterine cycle? And then once you are done with that, menstrual cycle is nothing. What happens in the ovarian cycle and what happens in the uterine cycle? So we're going to say ovarian cycle. Ovarian cycle. And then this side, I'm going to say uterine cycle. Yes. Okay. Remember ovarian cycle. Remember ovarian cycle. Let me draw an ovary here. Remember it has that arm which holds it. And then I'm going to draw the uterus here. So what happens? The changes which happen. The changes. Here I expect to have menstruation. That nice blood. Don't say it's not nice. If it's not nice, I'll ask you a question which you won't be able to answer. Yes. So now I have that. So here, it starts to develop. Those are the blood vessels. You see they're becoming more thicker, more vesicular. You see the thickness. If you look at the thickness here, look at the thickness. You will see that if this is A and this is B, A is not equal to B. You see, the thickness is there. But which hormone is that? Which does this? It means that hormone is not produced from here. So that hormone is estrogen. It is the estrogen to make this like this. So hormone responsible for this is estrogen. Are you seeing? That is, and then progesterone. Yes, you have hormone estrogen. It works from day one. I will just say day one, but it's not day one. It's this around day 7 or day 5 after menstruation. So I will say from day 1 until day 14. Let me use a different color. From day 1 until day 14, it is estrogen. And then from day 14 to day 28 is estrogen, progesterone. If you forget which one comes first, you put them in alphabetical order. O, P, Q, R, S, T. O and P, which one is first? Is O, estrogen. So it means that estrogen comes first. It works before the 14. And then progesterone, O, P, Q, meaning that progesterone comes after day 14. So, meaning that it's the one which maintains. All right. So, that is the uterine cycle. Basically, menstruation, you will see here, yes, menstruation here, and then you also see the thickness. The thickness of what? The thickness of the uterus. Then what about the ovarian cycle? What about the ovarian cycle? In the ovarian cycle, I expect from here, the ovarian cycle is nothing. There is nothing there. But after maybe day 5, things start to change. You start to develop that. It starts to become bigger. Yes. Now, the ovum is inside. Yes. The ovum is inside. On day 14, yes. On day 14, let me call this day 14. This structure, it burst open. Let me put it here so that you see exactly. It's not an eye. It burst open and then poof, it releases the ovum. Just if you want to know how ovulation takes place, go home, put water in the plastic, the white one, and then put something inside, maybe a bead in the plastic, then squeeze the plastic with water. You will see what is going to happen. The bead is going to what? Move out like a bullet. Wow. You understand? It's not a bullet, but just comes out. You understand? That's how ovulation takes place. You must do it but don't do it in front of people, because you might hit someone's eye and then you suffer the consequences. All right. So after that, guys, this thing has released the ovum. It has released the ovum. Automatically, it's going to become empty without the what? Ovum. Now, this thing is no longer now Graafian follicle. It is empty Graafian follicle, but now it has been changed to corpus luteum. Using what? Using LH. What made this one to develop is because of FSH. You see? And then now we continue to, this one keeps its size that big. What does it mean? It means that fertilization took place if it remains in that size. And if fertilization takes place, automatically implantation is going to take place. Then we shall conclude by saying that the person is pregnant. But if it takes another way, whereby you have this, it becomes smaller and then very small, what's going to happen? It's going to happen in such a way that when it takes root 2 instead of root 1, it means that the person is not pregnant, meaning that fertilization did not take place. Why? Because corpus luteum is shrinking. Corpus luteum shrinked. It did not maintain its big size. It shrinked. When it shrinks, it means that even if its production is going to reduce. What is the production? It produces progesterone. It means that even progesterone, the amount of progesterone which is gonna be produced is gonna reduce. And once it reduces, then automatically, what happens? What happens? It means that it's gonna influence what is progesterone was doing. Meaning that these hormones are supposed to be interlinked. If you block one, you mess up. They're like a bicycle chain. All right, we continue. The menstrual cycle. So, if you forget again, which hormone is responsible for stimulation of the Graafian follicle? Remember, Graafian follicle, it happens before 14. And then luteinizing hormone works on day 14. So what do? You go back to A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, A, B, C. You see, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, F. You see, F is already gone. H, I, J, K, L. L is too far. Meaning that what hormone comes first? The hormone which comes first is FSH. Which hormone comes next? The hormone which comes next is luteinizing hormone. Where do those hormones come from? Those hormones, they come from the brain. Which part of the brain? The part of the brain is hypophysis. Or you can also say pituitary gland. Yes. So now, we are basically done the structuring. Then now we need to apply. And once we apply, we are able to know anything which relates to this. Question. Which hormone come from the brain? We said it's luteinizing hormone and the follicle stimulating hormone. What is the function of follicle stimulating hormone? We have said that follicle stimulating hormone is here. Yes. What does it do? Stimulate the development of the Graafian follicle. Yes, to produce the ovum. Cool. What happens to the Graafian follicle when it's developing? Now we need to know that. Graafian follicle produces estrogen. Yes. Where does estrogen do? It crosses from this ovarian cycle, the uterine cycle. It crosses the border. Yes. It crosses from the ovarian cycle, then it goes to the uterine cycle. What does it do when it goes to the uterine cycle? It starts to prepare the uterus for implantation. So if the uterus has been prepared for implantation, yes. So what happens? Obviously, you have prepared for the wedding. What happens? You make the wedding. So it prepares the uterus for implantation. What happens? Implantation must take place, but implantation cannot take place before the ovum has been released. Therefore, on day 14, what happens? Ovulation takes place. Ovulation takes place on day 14. What helps ovulation to take place is this hormone called luteinizing hormone. Are you seeing? Now, okay, I know that luteinizing hormone has been released. So what's the function of luteinizing hormone? It triggers ovulation. The moment it triggers ovulation, what happens? The ovum is released, and then the empty Graafian follicle cannot be left there. It's the same hormone which is going to stimulate the empty Graafian follicle and then is converted into corpus luteum. The moment corpus luteum, yes, has been formed, corpus luteum doesn't just stay there. We don't just want to form a structure which has no function. Therefore, corpus luteum will start to produce a hormone called progesterone. Does progesterone has any function? Yes. What does it do? It crosses, because it has been produced in the ovarian cycle, so it doesn't work there. It crosses the border, then it goes to the uterine cycle. What does it do there? It maintains this endometrium. It makes it more thicker, more vascular, and more glandular. If this person is pregnant, yes, the corpus, the progesterone will maintain that pregnancy. How does it maintain it? So that this endometrium is supposed to be kept thick, more thicker, more vascular, and more glandular. Wow. What happens when it is now week 12? This corpus luteum is no longer being produced now. What happens? Now the placenta will take over the function of corpus luteum. And then now progesterone will be produced by the placenta. I see. So what happens if fertilization did not take place? If fertilization did not take place, I don't need to maintain the pregnancy. I don't need to maintain not the pregnancy. I don't need to maintain the endometrium because it is useless. It's like making the house, make it clean. Nobody is sleeping there. Every week you have to go there, you pay money, they paint, they what. Nobody is sleeping there. It becomes useless. Therefore, what happens? The corpus luteum starts to degenerate. And once it degenerates, it means that the level of progesterone is going to drop because the production unit is dying. Don't say it's dying in exam, it's degenerating. The production unit is degenerating. So it means that even the hormone is what? Is going to drop in the level. You understand? And the moment the hormone drops in the level, what happens? The endometrium will not be maintained. And if the endometrium is not maintained, what happens? What if I don't produce FSH? It means that you have tampered everything. It means that the ovum will not be the Graafian follicle will not be developed. The ovum will not be released. Ovulation will not take place. Fertilization will not take place. You see, what if the progesterone level is maintained high? Okay. If the progesterone level is maintained high, what will happen? It means that now FSH will not be produced because progesterone prevents FSH. So FSH will not be produced. The development of the Graafian follicle will not take place. You see, meaning that ovulation will not take place, fertilization will not take place. The same way, if that happens, automatically even what if the progesterone level drops? So you have to know all those things, that if this doesn't take place, what will happen? The function of that hormone will not take place. All right. I'm going to just for 1 minute to hear from you if you have a simple question before I go to the last part of the discussion. And then after that, we can do some questions. I have Asanda Duma. Do you have any question? Unmute, and then if you have a question, yes, let me hear from you. What can you say? Asanda? Asanda? Asanda is not here. Or maybe he's scared. Okay, do we have any person who has a question? Do you have a person who has a question? Yes, Asanda, yes, you are saying?
Sorry, sir.
You don't have any question?
Yeah, I don't.
All right. Yes. Zintle, do you have any question? Tanaka, as you are preparing. Zintle?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any question?
I don't have a question, sir.
All right.
Not yet.
No, not yet. Not yet. All right. Tanaka, let's wind up with you.
I pressed the thing by mistake. I don't have a question, too.
You don't have a question?
No, I don't.
Okay, I know myself. If guys you don't have questions, I'm gonna ask you questions. All right, guys. Let's continue. Okay. Sandion, do you have a question?
No, sir.
All right. Let's continue now to the next part. Now, since now I know, let's answer this together. What is A? We see that A is is an ovum. Yes, it's basically mature ovum is going to be released. What is B is the mature Graafian follicle. Which process is this? That is ovulation. What is this? That is the ovum, which has been released. And then what is this? That is corpus luteum. Guys, sometimes this thing goes like this. Sometimes it goes like that. It depends on the side. You see, like this one is moving from this side to that side, while this one is moving from this side to that side. You will see inside here that the ovum is there. So the side where the ovum is there, then that's where the cycle is rotating. This is what I was talking about. This is the menstruation is taking place, and then now you see that the thickness is increasing. If you measure there, the thickness is what is increasing. And then also, if you look at the depression of these holes, the depression of those holes, they're becoming bigger. And then when they become bigger, those are the glands. That's why you say that glandular. Yes, they become more glands. And then look at this, the blood vessels. The blood vessels are also becoming more thicker, you see, more thicker. So that's why you say that it becomes more vascular. Yes. If it has more blood vessels. If you look at this and this, we shall see that this one is more thicker. So that is it. Also the thing we talked about. Now, let's now interpret this. Let's interpret that. I'm not going to draw it from the scratch. I would have drawn it from the scratch, but for the purpose of time, I'm going to just explain here. And then after that, we're just gonna apply what we have studied. And then after that, we do some questions and then we start to link them. I put these numbers specifically number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Yes. So number 1, we start with the number 1. Number 2 is we go to number 2, we go to number 3, then we go to number 4. That's we are able to explain. We say that this number 1 works here. This number 2 works there. Number 3 works there. Number 4 works there. So you cannot talk about progesterone before day 14. No, you can't. You can't talk about estrogen based on our level after day 14. After our level, or sorry, on our level. You can't do that. You cannot talk about follicle-stimulating hormone after day 14, because day 14, you see, that's its box. You see? You cannot talk about FSH and you link it to this. No. FSH works with the Graafian, with the what? The ovarian cycle. So you see now what I'm talking about, that this box, it has a specific reason. Once you have it, you have it. This box, Wabon, this box, yeah, that is it. It's for follicle-stimulating hormone. And then this one is for that. Are you seeing? Then this one is for that. And then this one is for that. Now, let's start the functions. And how do they interlink? Follicle-stimulating hormone. Let me use a different color. Follicle-stimulating hormone. This, the hormone is from the brain. Which part of the brain? Hypophysis. This word, guys, is very important. Don't just write. In exam, we have specific words we are looking for. Stimulates the development of the Graafian follicle to produce the ovum. So the Graafian follicle is the one which produces ovum. So you see now it starts to develop, you see? It starts to develop. So this ovum is not going to be produced and left in the space. No. This ovum is supposed to be prepared. No, it's supposed to, the body is supposed to prepare where the ovum is going to go. That is implantation. So as this Graafian follicle is developing, this Graafian follicle is going to produce a hormone called estrogen. Estrogen. That's why this arrow is there. You see, that's why this arrow is there, trying to show you that this hormone, estrogen, you see this color is estrogen. Where is this estrogen coming from? It comes from the Graafian follicle. But where is this Graafian follicle? What makes it to develop is this hormone, which comes from the brain. You see, that's why the arrow is pointing here, that this hormone, FSH, yes, once it is produced, it will start to develop this Graafian follicle. Once this Graafian follicle starts to develop, it's going to produce a hormone called estrogen. Are you seeing? So now, the question comes in. Oh, something which you need to understand. You see that, we say that this hormone, yes, FSH, makes this one to develop. As this one develops, yes, it produces estrogen. Now we're going to see as estrogen produces, what is going to happen. Check and see. This hormone first increase, and then now this one starts to increase. So it means that this cannot increase without this. So if I make this hormone to be low, it means that the Graafian follicle will not develop. And if the Graafian follicle doesn't develop, then it means that the estrogen is not going to be produced. If estrogen is not produced or produced in less amount, then automatically, what's the function of estrogen? Now we go. Okay, estrogen, once it is produced, remember estrogen is produced in the Graafian follicle, so it goes into the uterine cycle. So the estrogen is going to go to the uterus. Are you seeing? It's going to go to the uterus and starts preparing this uterus for implantation by making this endometrium thick, vesicular, and glandular. Thick, vesicular, and glandular. By making it thick, vesicular, and glandular. Now I've prepared the body for implantation because I've made these walls thick, vesicular, and glandular. What is next? I will go to number 3. Luteinizing hormone will come in, which comes from where? From the brain. Remember we said that this thing comes from the what? From the brain. So once luteinizing hormone is released, that's why you see it here. It only increases towards day 14, and after that it goes back down. Why? Because we only need it on day 14. So luteinizing hormone is gonna now produce this ovum. But how does it produce it? It stimulates the release of this ovum. That's why we use the word triggers ovulation. It triggers ovulation. So once it triggers ovulation, yes, now this sac is going to become empty. It's going to be just there as a sac because the ovum has been released from it. So luteinizing hormone again is going to cause this sac, which is empty, to be converted into corpus luteum. Now this structure is what you call corpus luteum. That's why he said that triggers ovulation, also stimulates the conversion of empty Graafian follicle to corpus luteum. It's so nice. Ish. I'm sorry, but your ladies, you are complicated. Any man who say that your lady is not complicated, then I won't salute you. you are saluted. Man, it was a long time we finished the process. Long time. But if you ladies, yeah. So you ladies, make sure that we don't fail you in exam. Make sure that we don't fail you. I mean, we must not fail this menstrual cycle in exam. Yes. So now, the ovum has been released. It becomes empty, the sac is converted into corpus luteum. The moment corpus luteum is converted, is produced, now the corpus luteum is going to produce a hormone called progesterone. Remember, corpus luteum is under ovarian cycle. So the hormone produced here cannot work here. That's why it goes down to the uterine cycle. That is the yellow, this the hormone which is yellow in color. So now what happens? The corpus luteum produce progesterone. Progesterone, yes. What's the function of progesterone? Progesterone will maintain the pregnancy if you are pregnant, or it will maintain the endometrium. How does it maintain the endometrium? By making it more thicker, more vesicular, and more glandular. So these glands are supposed to do what? To also develop so that it's able to secrete more thicker, more vesicular, and more glandular. After that, we continue. What will happen if fertilization did not take place? What happens if fertilization did not take place? Now, if fertilization doesn't take place, guys, listen to this. If fertilization doesn't take place, the corpus luteum will degenerate. And once corpus luteum degenerates, the level of progesterone will drop. I see. After the level of progesterone drops, what happens? It means that now the endometrium will not be maintained. If endometrium is not maintained, it's like squeezing a sponge where yet you poured water there. So it means that now this liquid is going to be produced, which we call accompanied by bleeding, which we call menstruation. So if you look at this graph, they'll ask you, did the fertilization take place? What are you going to say? You're going to say no. Give a reason for your answer. There is corpus luteum, you see, is shrinking, it degenerated. The level of progesterone dropped. There is bleeding, which comes after. Not this one. Guys, don't confuse this bleeding, this menstruation with this. This menstruation is just the start of the cycle, while this one comes at the end, which connects back to that. So menstruation occurs here. Once after occurring, then the cycle continues. So did the fertilization take place? No. Corpus luteum degenerates. Level of progesterone drops. What about the uterus, the endometrium? The endometrium, what happens? It starts to shrink. When it shrinks, it releases the what? The blood, which is accompanied. The blood, we can only know it after we have seen it, which means that now menstruation has taken place. There's some people who are asking me, what about those clots which come? What about the mucus which come? There's a lot of questions girls are required to know about this, but sometimes we don't have to explain everything because we have a scope where you're supposed to run. Yeah, guys, I think that's the menstrual cycle. Let's look at the questions. Let's look at the questions. Sean Dube, are you there? I want to hear from you. Are you there and are you getting it? Sean Dube?
Yes, sir.
Yes. All right. Okay, let's continue. Let's continue now. Let's try to practice the questions and then we see if we are able to answer those questions together, guys. All right. There we go. Let's start with the simple ones and then we go to the more complex ones. Why this one is like this now? Okay, let me check and oh, it's like that. It refused to come out. Okay, I don't know why. It's a computer. Yeah, we have a lot of questions here. Okay, let's start with this one. Should we start with this? Okay, let's start with the simple one. Then we shall come to that. Okay. Now we have studied the graph below of menstrual cycle and the influence of different hormone on it. So once we have like this, if I ask you a question, did the fertilization take place? I expect you to say, guys, when I ask a question, try to answer it in your mind. And then after that, I'll just pause a bit so that I'm able to give you the answer. And then you see if you have got the answer. Or when I open like this, you can check the questions and then you see. Okay, did the fertilization take place here? My answer, I will say no. Give a reason for your answer. Yeah, the first answer, look at this. Do they have the same size? No. See, it's decreasing. The size is decreasing. So it means that copper sodium is shrinking. You see? It's becoming smaller. And the moment copper sodium shrinks or degenerates, the level of progesterone is going to drop. So we can say fertilization did not take place. Why? Because copper sodium, the level of progesterone is dropping. And then even copper sodium is shrinking. The size is becoming smaller. Yes. Okay. On which day does ovulation takes place? We see ovulation takes place here. It's day 14. Between which days does menstruation takes place? Don't memorize. Look at the graph. It looks to be day 0 to day 7. Someone was asking me, do we have day 0? Yes. We have day 0. If it is just starting 2 hours past, how many days are those? It's just hours, not yet a day. So we can call that day 0. We got the next question. State 1 function of FSH during menstrual cycle. We're talking about menstrual cycle. FSH, we say that I write my flow. Yes, FSH works here. You see? FSH, so they're asking you the function of FSH. The function of FSH is to make this. Stimulates the development of the Graafian follicle. Hormone that stimulates the development of the Graafian follicle. We continue. We go to the next question. Describe the functional relationship between progesterone and estrogen. How is progesterone influencing FSH? Remember that if you have a high level of progesterone, yes, it is going to prevent the FSH from being produced. I see. The higher the level of progesterone, the lower the FSH produced. So if the level of progesterone is maintained high, FSH is not going to be produced. And if FSH is not produced, the ovum cannot what? Be released, meaning that the Graafian follicle is not going to be produced, or it is not going to develop. And if Graafian follicle is not developing, ovum cannot be released. It means that you cannot be pregnant 2 times. If guys progesterone level is high, is high, and then this still the FSH is produced, you're gonna be pregnant 2 times. I mean, you are 6-month pregnancy and you are 3-month pregnancy. Why? Progesterone level is high. You're already pregnant, and then another ovum is developing. Automatically, when you do it, don't forget to stay virgin. Yes. When you do it, ne? Don't forget the mileage is supposed to be 0, guys. Ne? When you do it, then automatically it means that it's gonna be fertilized. And once it's fertilized, what happens? Pregnancy. And you're already pregnant. So you end up having 2 pregnancies. So it's not possible. So what do? What does progesterone do? The moment the level is high, automatically FSH is prevented from being what? Produced. You see? So that it prevents the second pregnancy. So we continue the next one. We go to the next question. Account for the changes in the thickness of endometrial lining between day 14 and day 21. What made this thickness of endometrium? What made it to be like this, to increase? Is because of the level of progesterone. There is high production of progesterone, which makes the endometrium more thicker, more vascular, and more glandular. So the thickness is linked to the amount of progesterone being produced. Did the fertilization take place on day 28? Yes. We go back. We look at it. We say that look at this, look at the progesterone, and look at this. But unfortunately, let me clean it up. Unfortunately, this cannot be. Yes, we can look at it. We can look at this. Unfortunately, this we can't look at it because there is no sign. You understand? So corpusorium is shrinking, and then the level of progesterone also is dropping, meaning that fertilization did not take place. Give 2 reasons. We have given the reasons. So I think, guys, you see how we can answer such question. There's that question which I said, I looked at it and I got interested in it. They're saying that 2 ovarian hormones released during menstrual cycle. Guys, the moment they say ovarian hormones, what does it mean? Yes, 2 ovarian hormones. Okay, they are being released during the menstrual cycle. So, what is A and what is B? So if you look at this, check where does it increase from? It starts to increase like this. And then after that it drops. And then this one is just low. It only increases like that. I see. And then drops down. So if you look at this, if you look at this hormone, which day is this? When did it start increasing? Around day 3, day 3, 4, there. Starts to increase. And it starts to increase rapidly on day 7. If you go back to we say that the hormone which increases around day 7 is the hormone after menstruation. That hormone increases. You see, after menstruation, that hormone, you see, that hormone is being released around day 7 too much. So it means that it's this hormone. That hormone is being produced from the ovary. That's why they say the ovarian hormone is being produced from the what? Two ovarian hormone released during the menstrual cycle, meaning that that hormone is being released from the what? From the ovary. And if you look at that hormone, it's this hormone, estrogen. It's the one which increases, you see, starts to increase around the what? Day 7. So now, once you go there, now they're asking, so it means that A looks to be estrogen, and B only increases after day 14. That's why I wanted to see, to discuss about this question when I saw it. Yes, I not selected you guys, questions. I said that I will discuss these questions which are this booklet. Look, it only increases around day 14. So when you come back here, we come back and we see which hormone increases day 14, after day 14, you see. Just a little bit, maybe it can be a little bit before, but increases day 14, after day 14 increases too much, which is progesterone. Let's confirm. Is progesterone also coming from the ovary? Yes, it comes from corpus luteum. So it means that this looks to be progesterone. So they are saying, what effect does increase in the hormone A have on the endometrium? What effect does hormone A have on the endometrium? Hormone A, we said, is estrogen. So if it is estrogen, remember we said that prepares the uterus for implantation. How? How does it prepare it? That's the effect they're asking you. It makes the endometrium thick, vesicular, and glandular. It makes the endometrium thick, vesicular, and glandular. Yes. Ovulation is indicated on the graph. Define ovulation. This one is the release of a mature ovum from the ovary. Yes. So basically, the mature ovum must be released, or the rupturing of the Graafian follicle to produce a mature ovum. It's the rupturing of the Graafian follicle to produce a mature ovum. Yes. The word mature is supposed to be added there because it's a marking point. So on which day does ovulation takes place? Guys, please don't memorize it's day 14. You must always check. Yes. Remember, ovulation can take place on day 13 or day 15. It's not guaranteed that it's day 14, it's day 14, it's day 14. It's the same way like you. We know that lunch is supposed to be, for example, 1 o'clock. But you're not always eating 1 o'clock. There will be sometimes issues which are accompanied to that. So it's not always 1 o'clock. Yes, so not always ovulation takes place on day 14. If you are just thinking about day 14 only, even day 13, even day 15, you understand? So those days, please don't tamper. Please don't tamper. Boys, put your machines down. Please do not tamper, or otherwise you're going to impregnate someone. That's why I say stay virgin. Marriage 0-0. All right. Which day, so we are done with that. Which hormone is secreted by pituitary gland and stimulate, you see, pituitary gland. Now you ask yourself, that's the things we have been discussing. You come back to what we discussed and we say, we look at this. Which hormone is coming from the pituitary gland? We say that, yes. Here is the hormone. So your answer must be either FSH or LH. What are they saying? Which hormone secreted by the pituitary gland stimulates ovulation? We say the one which stimulates ovulation occurs when? On day 14. So it's LH which increases on day 14. So they're saying that which hormone secreted by the pituitary gland stimulates ovulation? You see, even them, they are saying stimulates ovulation. So guys, don't use other funny words. Stimulates ovulation. Yes, so the answer is LH. So we saw that is LH, luteinizing hormone. Yes, please don't forget the what? Please don't forget the what? The spelling. Explain why high level of B prevents development of the new follicle. That's what the same thing we talked about. Okay, B. Why is it that if we say this is progesterone, Why is it that if we have too much of progesterone, why is it that if you have too much of the progesterone, it will prevent the development of new follicle? Why? Because remember, if it is too much, it means that we say that the person is, it will be as if you are pregnant, and you can't be too pregnant. You can't be pregnant 2 times. So the level of progesterone is high. Yes, it will prevent the production of FSH. Do you understand? Yes. So they're saying that explain why a high level of B prevent the development of new follicle. So the high level of progesterone or hormone B will prevent the production of FSH. If FSH is prevented, automatically the new follicle will not develop. So the reason is a high level of progesterone will prevent the production of FSH from the pituitary gland, hence no new follicle develops. You see, no new follicle develops. Explain the evidence in the graph to indicate that no fertilization took place during this menstrual cycle. You see, that's what I say, that they can bring a graph with the either structures like this. It has this, and it has this. Or we can only bring this and this, or we can just bring the graph. So now here is only the graph. They're asking you questions. What shows that pregnancy did not take place? It's because the level of progesterone dropped. You see, there is a decrease in the level of progesterone when, how many marks? Yes, how many marks here? Explain the evidence in the graph to indicate that there is no fertilization. Explain the evidence in the graph to indicate that no fertilization took place during menstrual cycle above. So it's 3 marks. So it means so we are saying that someone is busy talking when you are busy studying. All right. I am saying that explain the evidence in the graph that indicate no fertilization that took place, during the menstrual cycle. Yes. What can you say? We say that the level of progesterone, someone is asking, so if it did not drop, it means that the person was pregnant. Yes, if it did not drop, then it means that the person was pregnant. So the level of progesterone dropped. Do you understand? Yes. Yes, but it's 3 marks here. You can't just say the level of progesterone dropped. So in this case, you have to be specific from which days. So the level of progesterone dropped between, yes, you see, between day 18 to day 27. You see, yeah, at least you can add that so that you're able to obtain that mark. Yeah, we have another question which looks like, okay, let's just check it. You see now, this is a different version. The first version, we say that it has all. The second version, these are hormones, ne? Yes, the second version is only hormones. You see, the third version is now no hormones, is only the ovary developing, and then the uterus also what? Developing. Yes. So if that is the case, let's find out. The menstrual cycle is controlled by hormone. Name the hormone which will increase in the level between day 2 and day 10. Day 2 and day 10. So which hormone increases between day 2 and day 10? We go back. Which hormone is that? Check. you see that this hormone, you check, if you look at it, you see that this hormone, it increases so that it leads to the development of the Graafian follicle. So it means that that hormone is FSH, which we say, if you go back to our yes, where is it? Yes, yeah, it's this one. No, this one. Yeah, if we come back here, let me just try to remember, we say that the box, we say, so your answer cannot be progesterone, your answer cannot be luteinizing hormone. Yes, your answer can only be estrogen and progesterone. Sorry, estrogen and follicle stimulating hormone, because those are the one which are in between day 0 to day 14. So now, but this progesterone cannot increase before FSH increases. That's why you see that we say that it increases, you see. So the answer around there. So automatically, that's why you say that is FSH. And what's the function of FSH? It stimulates the development of the Graafian follicle to produce ovum. We come back here. It stimulates this so that you are able to produce the ovum. So that's why you're saying FSH. Give one observable reason for your answer. Why? Because there is the development of the Graafian follicle during that time. You see, there is development of the Graafian follicle during that time. So if you do like this, because development is a change, we shall only confirm it with a change. So if this was the size, this one is much more bigger than this. Give one observable reason. Okay, explain the evidence from the graph which indicate that fertilization took place. Fertilization took place. Check here the size. The size of corpus luteum is maintained. Corpus luteum remains big. You see, and also there is thickening of the endometrium. The endometrium is kept thick. You see, yes, it's more thick, is more vascular and more glandular, even after day 28. You see, even after day 28. So explain, we are done with that. Explain the developmental changes in the fertilized ovum until implantation occurs. Ne? Explain. They are saying that explain the developmental changes of fertilized ovum until implantation takes place. That will be our next class. Yes, it will be our next class when you are discussing about development of the zygote. They're asking you this, development of the zygote until implantation. So if you have read about it, this is what they are looking for. Yeah, you explain this. Development of the zygote until implantation. So describe the development changes in the fertilized ovum until implantation occurs in the uterus. So yeah, so we are done with that. So I'm not going to answer this, but you talk about the to form a zygote. The zygote undergoes mitosis to form a ball of cell which called morula, which divide mitotically still to form a hollow ball. That words, all these we will discuss. Hollow ball of cell, which you call blastula, and then which forms finger-like projection. No, which forms outer layer called chorion, which forms finger-like projection called chorionic veil for implantation. That's what they want. But we will discuss about it in our next class, inshallah. Or in English, God willing. They're saying that why would some female use ovarian or ovulation monitor so that they can be aware of the days when they are fertile, meaning that those ones who are struggling to get a baby. But sometimes it's because of us. Husband is in Limpopo, the wife is in KZN. When they meet, this one is happening. So when will they become pregnant? Anyway, that's like, all right. They're saying that this monitor measure the level of hormones in the blood. Why would female want to know when they are fertile? Why should they know when they are fertile? I think now you are thinking about the answer. They have to know when they are fertile so that they're able Number one. Okay, let me just generalize it. For basically family planning. Why? For family planning. Why do you need to know when you are fertile? For family planning. How family planning? You might either be looking for the baby, you want the baby, so that you engage yourself in that activity, yes, and you get the baby. Or you might be someone who don't want a baby, and you know that, oh, when is that time? I must abstain, and I don't go into that activity. Therefore, you cannot be what? Pregnant. So you see that it brings about the issue of family planning. Explain which hormone is most likely to be monitored by the ovarian, by the ovulation monitor. Which hormone is most likely to be? But they said explain, because when you explain, you have to give a reason for your answer. You understand? Yes. So in this case, we can say the answer is LH. Why? Then you explain to us, because it triggers ovulation, or it stimulates ovulation to what? Take place. Yes. So guys, I think for today I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna stop here, and then yeah. Unless guys you have what to say, you can now open your mics. You can say whatever you want to say, as long as it is right, in the right direction. It maybe if you want to say something. Yes, Amo, I see you. Erio, I see you. Asanda, I see you. Banele, I see you. Amakeranga, I see you.